ITN travelled out from Cape Town on the first supply ship bound for Tristan in 6 months. With us in search of the simple life were the Hemming family from Britain. Mrs. Jean Hemming, 3 of her children, and her husband Alan, a salesman until he spotted an advertisement for radio operator onTristan.
I sort of feel, well, it won't do the kids any harm at all to go to a place where they're going to have to do without quite a few of the luxuries and the so-called necessities of civilization. They're going to have to spend 2 years without those, and I hope that they'll find that to enjoy life it isn't at all necessary to have these things. Right, well, when they go back then, I feel they'll be better off for having spent at least 2 years without all these things. And perhaps it'll give them a proper perspective, a proper sense of value of what's absolutely necessary and what's just luxury. Because I think that's the thing in Britain at the moment. People are confusing what's necessary with what's just what they fancy and what they're told they need half the time by the old advertising wallers, etc., you know.
The first sight of Tristan looming out of the mist, battered by the Atlantic, brings as much relief to the modern traveller as it must have done to the ancient navigators. This is the loneliest human colony on Earth. It took 7 days sailing for us to catch our first glimpse of Tristan yesterday afternoon, only dimly seen through driving mist, its snow-capped peak totally obscured by low cloud. 7 days of staring at an empty ocean and realizing again and again just how isolated, how remote from civilization the island remains. During the last few days, a force 7 wind has whipped up the swell in a way that made it quite impossible either for us to anchor or for the islanders to send their longboat out to us. A few hours later, the swell calmed. Our ship, unable to sail nearer the island, dropped anchor. From the shore, the islanders set out to meet us. For the Hemming children, this was the last leg of a 3-week journey to their new home. A stout wooden barge brought out from England took them the final mile to the shore. The waiting islanders were polite but reserved. In their features, the complete mixture of races was obvious at once. The first permanent settler on Tristan in 1817 was a Scotsman. He came as part of a military garrison stationed on the island to prevent the escape of Napoleon from St. Helena. When the garrison left, he and his coloured wife remained. Over the next century, shipwrecked sailors and deserters joined them, Dutch, Italian, Scandinavian. Some of their wives came from the Negro slave girls of St. Helena. Today, the community numbers 260. The village settlement is called Edinburgh in honour of the visit of Queen Victoria's son in 1867. The thatched houses, like Highland Crofts, huddle on the narrow ledge between the sea and the 7,000-foot peak which crowns the island. Only a few hundred yards away from the settlement, the ugly slag heap of the volcano that bubbled out of the earth in October 1961. As streams of lava poured down to the sea, red-hot rocks rained down on the settlement. Today, only a few smoking craters remain as evidence of the sudden eruption that drove the islanders from their homes. Though only one house was completely destroyed, the entire island community was evacuated to England. Scientists could give no firm assurance that the volcano was now extinct. It could erupt again in 10 years, 100 years, or even tomorrow. In England, 2 years ago, the islanders weighed their chances and voted in favour of their simple island life. But they found many changes. The smell of sulphur still hangs over the still-warm lava. Since the eruption, there are constant rock falls. And there are still more serious effects. The sheltered beaches where small fishing boats could be launched were buried under tons of lava. Pasture for the island livestock was drastically reduced, covered in lava or withered by sulphur fumes. The cattle had run wild in the islanders' absence. All the sheep had disappeared and had to be replaced. Many island trees had been destroyed. To add to these difficulties, the staple food crop, potatoes, has been blighted for the 2 years since the islanders' return. Each family cultivates a fertile patch 2 miles from the settlement. Now they wait anxiously to gauge this year's crop. The islanders' almost miraculous escape from death under the volcano seemed to them a sign telling them to return. Their sense of community, inevitable in an island where 70 families share only 7 surnames, made their decision to return almost unanimous. The new difficulties and disadvantages of life on Tristan since the volcano